Hi everybody and welcome along. I've decided to come on today and show you how I made my little tag, this fabric tag. I'm just going to show you where I'm up to in my fabric journal. This is the cover and Edith is the focus, yes, focus. So got Edith loud and proud in the centre. And this is some Edith fabric here actually. This is Timmy fabric and the tag is Timmy paper with some coffee stain paper on the back. So you could, if you really wanted to, you could journal on that if you felt the need. And I've just put a couple of green beads there. This is sari silk, a doily, some lace down there. So there's quite a lot going on. And then when you open it up, this is obviously going to be the inner page here. And I wanted to make red the focus as well as Edith. I just thought I'd limit myself even further by trying to use red. So this is the tag in there, the Edith nettle, which I love. Coffee stain paper, a little charm on there. There's no red on the tag, but there is red throughout here. Nice little charm on there. And then on this side, this is the tag with the Edith buttercups and a little bit more of that doily, which I thought just went so well with the buttercups. A little bit of, what do you call that again? Can't remember, but you know what I mean, I'm sure. And then this is calico, which I've stamped up from stamps from field notes and backed that with coffee stain paper. So that fits into that pocket. And then here we've got back to the red again, and I've got this red stripe going down, and then I've stamped out one of the field notes kits onto card and sewn that on there onto a bit of Hessian burlap, fine burlap, that I've just frayed the edges, and this is a bit of sari silk, added a couple of buttons. So there's lots going on. And it takes me ages to do anything. And then this is the back cover. The foxgloves, of course. The other side of that doily. This is Edith fabric, Timmy fabric, and that is the journaling card, which I'm sure you'll recognise from Timmy. So that's the cover. So I now want to make my first fabric page. And this is, I made it smaller than the cover, considerably smaller, but this is as far as I've got with this. So obviously the Edith, the chaffinch there, I've just done some hand stitched cross stitch around there. It's just a little tag. When it gets sewn together, that'll be a bit more stable. And I've just put one of, it's a popper really, but I've just put the top of it on there because I wanted the red up the page a bit. This is a pocket, and that's the tag, which goes in there. Some red fabric and a button on there. This is another pocket, and it goes all the way through. So here's the end of it, which you see disappearing like that. And there's my other tag, bit of red. Both have got buttons on there, so that just slides into there. Here's I think it was a photo booth that I just tore a little bit out of so you could see more red really. It's stitched around it. This is, well, it's more like tatting than lace, to be honest. And then some flips, fabric little tuck things, and a longer one here. And that's it. The only other thought that I've had is that I might want to use this Edith poppies here, and I have sewn some red fabric behind it just to give us that red edging, but it will be sewn obviously around the edge once we get the other part, the other side of this fabric page made. But I did think that the red tag that I made, I call it red as it's got red on it, would go into there, and that would be the perfect place for it. So let's have a go at making this today. I I appreciate not all of you are making fabric journals, and you certainly don't have to use Timmy. You can use whatever you have. You know, it would look equally nice and really pretty fabrics. So let's have a look at this, see what it is. Well, it measures 5 inches by 3, 5 by 3. So I have selected from the charm pack of Timmy fabrics this fabric, and I've selected it really because it's got this red in the background, which you know, that's what I'm looking for really. Not only that, but it's gorgeous, isn't it? It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. So I need to cut myself it's 5 inches tall, this from the charm pack, it's 5 inches square. So I need to cut myself a 3-inch strip because this tag is 5 by 3. So let's cut 3 inches off there, and that'll give us our 5 by 3. It is pretty straight, this. Whoever cut these charms cut them good and straight. So that's a remnant, and it's a quality remnant. Don't throw it away. Right. Next thing that we need is the wadding, the batting, as you would call it. And I've used felt because I've got felt. If you've got batting, use batting. You know, so much the better, really. I'm just using what I've got, and what I have is felt. So I think this might fit up here if we're lucky. Yes, it does. Marvellous. So let's get that. What I want is the batting to be to measure slightly less than this. So I don't want it, because it's this green colour, I don't really want it showing out when I sew it. So let's cut that. I'm going to try and use my blade. Oh, I might use this, it's sitting here. It's funny stuff to cut as felt. I think it's because it's so man-made. Oh, lovely, that's cut that perfectly. Let's pop that over there. I have had a massive clean-up. It's been ridiculous. Let's have a look at this. I think I might need to trim a little bit more of that. It is slightly less, but not enough. So let's get the scissors out and just trim a little bit off that. Let's trim that, and down one side as well. Yeah, that's good. That's given us a good border all the way around, and they are scraps. Whoops. Right, so the next thing I need to do is decorate this. Now, before I do that, I'm going to put the angles in for the top of the tag, so I know where I can decorate and where I can't. So I'll use the larger one, I think. So picking up both the batting and the fabric, let's chop these off. Let's turn that around. Taking care to keep everything in place. Lovely. Now what will have happened now is that the batting will be right at the side. So let's just trim a little bit away from there. These scissors are rather large, aren't they? So just a little bit. There we are. So you can see we've maintained that border all the way around. Okay, so let's move on to decorating this. Now, the first thing that you will see is this, the field label. and it's from my field label stamp set, and I printed that onto coloured card actually, but for this I'm going to print it onto it's craft paper, to be honest. It's thin, so let's stamp that on. And last time I stamped it on with a brown ink, which I didn't get out. See if I can find it. Yeah, I used the VersaFine Clair Fallen Leaves, I think. So I'll just do that again. See if I can find my stamping block. Because of the tidy up, you all know what it's like, don't you? You have a tidy up and you can't find a thing. I really can't find a stamping block. That's annoying. I've been tripping over it for days. Ah, oh, where are you? Stamping block, where have you gone? Is it in there? Ah, yeah. Lovely. Right. It's really filthy, this, and a stamping block is. So it's kind of struggling to stay in place, to be honest. But we'll link that up. Oh, and my hand. Ink it up quite well, because craft paper absolutely drinks in ink. There we go. Please stay in one place. Oh, and it didn't. Okay. So for all that looking for my stamping block, didn't do us any favours in the end. Right, so I'm going to stamp this here, just leaving a little margin. And it doesn't matter if it's straight or not, because we're going to cut it out. Mr. F's cooking lunch, and lunch today is chicken, leek and mushroom pie. Woo-hoo. Can't wait. He's sweating down the leeks and mushrooms at the minute, and it smells delicious. Right, there we are. That's a good stamp. So let's pop that to the side, and that to the side, and the stamp platform that's so dirty it doesn't work anymore. So let's cut this out, leaving a little margin around it. I like to take my time. If you're a speedster, just go for it. Craft card would work equally well. Or cream card that you've inked up would also work, so, you know, don't worry about that. Right, now then, that's going to go there, and that looks gorgeous, I think. But I need a little bit of red fabric, just a bit. So I've got this piece that I'm hanging on to, and I just need a little bit. Now, I wonder if I can take a little bit from down there. I don't want that square edge, although it could go under there. So yeah, we're all right. Let's just cut this about here. See if I can tear that to give me a nice frayed edge. Yep, that worked good. And that's going to go under there like that. That's perfect. Maybe show a little bit more like there. Now we've got lines on here, so get your stamp straight, unless you want it wonky, because otherwise it'll show up quite a lot. I probably want it a little bit more this way. About there, I would say. Having said that, I quite like that red line at the top. So I'm just going to bring it down a little bit, down to there. Now, you could take all of that to the machine and sew it, but I know what would happen. This would come unstuck. So I'm just, actually, to be honest, I'm going to ink around there first. It is craft card and it doesn't need a lot of inking, but I'm just going to, just with vintage photo, Just give it a little bit of an ink. It all adds interest, adds sort of layers to it. There we go. Right. So now I'm going to stick this onto this side, which is easier for me when I come to sew it. Oh. You don't need much, and art glitter works perfectly. It glues fabric, or certainly thin fabric, really, really well. So I want a little bit sticking out at the top. Let's have a look and see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that'll be fine. Yeah, lovely. So while that's drying, although it only takes no time at all, I want another red strip at the bottom here. So I don't think that's going to be wide enough. No. So how wide did I make that one? Not very wide at all. So let's just cut there. I think it's about that width, and tear off sort of 3 inches. Is that 3 inches? Oh, it's almost perfect. I like the ripped look to the edges. If you don't, cut it. You know, make it cleaner cut. Yeah, make it a clean cut. So that's going to go there, and it's going to go. Oh, it's perfect, perfect. So I'm going to also stick this on. You know, I'm not using much glue, just a little bit to keep it from moving around too much when I'm trying to sew. That's fine. So let's get that stuck down. So right to the edge and right to the bottom, but not beyond it in this instance. So that's that. That won't move. That's probably dry now. So let's just stick a little bit in the centre of here, because we're not stitching in the centre. And work out where we're going to put it. About there. I think about there. Yeah, that's great. So that's the red stuck to the label stuck to the thing, this red stuck to the fabric. So we're all right to go. So I'm going to stitch through it and the felt. So it'll almost sort of quilt it really. And then when we come to put the back on, it'll hide all that stitching. So bear with me, I'm just nipping to the machine and I will be straight back. Okay, so I've got the stitching around there done. I went twice around the field label. Just makes it look slightly more irregular, and I like that look. So that's what I did there. Let's just cut these ends off. There's no need to cut the ends on the back too short, because they're going to be caught up on the back, you know, when we put the back on. So that's what it looks like on the back. So you can see the stitching I've done twice around the label and all the way around there. Now then, what happens next? We need to deal with this little bit down here, and this is the label tape, I believe it's called, from Tim, and I did lay it out. I'm sure I laid it out. Did I not lay it out? Oh yes, here it is. Yeah, label tape, and it comes in 2 flavours. One is letters, the alphabet, and the other is numbers. I think I'll use letters this time because I used numbers before, and it's sticky. It sticks by itself. But to be honest, I never trust anything that says it sticks by itself, because you never know, do you? I just prefer to stick a little bit of art glitter on there, and then we know we're all right. So from there to about G, what do you think? Yeah, maybe F. Let's get the F in. So to there. And then this has got tape stuck over there, so I'm just going to cut that little bit off. Stick it. It is very sticky, I will say that, but I'm just going to stick a bit of art because I'm not sewing over this, I'm not stitching it. So I want to be sure it's going to stay. Let's put this on. Fairly centrally is how I did it last time. I quite like it. I don't think that is central by anybody's imagination. Yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Right, let's just get... Now I'm in the tidying mode. I feel like I have to tidy up all the time. So that goes in there. So making great progress. So all I did here was I went to the machine and selected, my machine does a cross stitch. And I'm fortunate I have a really nice machine, but if your machine doesn't do cross stitch, it might do another fancy stitch that you like. Oh, the light's gone really strange, hasn't it? I think it's because it's so bright. Just hang on a minute and I'll go and shut the curtains. Hope that's a little bit better. I think it was just that the sun was coming in. It was so bright. Not that we should complain. It's a very cold day here, but it's really bright. Lovely winter's day, actually. Right. So I just want to ruffle that up a little bit more. So now, as I say, I'm going to do 2 cross stitches, 1 on each side. It's very easy to do these by hand. In fact, it's probably easier. But I'm going to do it on the machine. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, that's that done. I've got a little cross each side. I'm just going to snip the ends off, the thread ends. You can leave your ends if you want to. It looks nice, I think, if you leave your ends. Just cut these off on the other side. Honestly, this fabric journal, it's taken me forever to do because I just can't decide on fabrics. It's ridiculous. I audition, I don't know, all the fabrics that I've got for every position. It's ridiculous. Right, so that's that. We're pretty much done apart from the topper, but we can't do the topper till we've done the back. So what is on the back? Right, this is it. And I have used a piece of Tim Holtz paper from a paper pad. It's the Wallflower one, yeah, Wallflowers one, I think. So I just need to cut a piece out that's 5 by 3. That's what's required. I might as well use this. It doesn't really matter what it is. So let's cut 3 inches off there, and I believe that's 6 inches. You get those 6-inch bits, don't you, in the paper pads? I want it by 5, which is there. So let's just chop that off. Lovely. So that's going to go. I like this side better, it's more interesting, isn't it? So that's going to go there, like so, and I just need to cut the angles at the top of the tab so they all match. Okay, so far so good. Alright, so I think we're alright. If it's a bit too big, which it might be, we'll trim it after we've attended to it. Right, so I want some coffee stained paper to match this one. So some coffee stained paper, if I have such a thing. Yes, I do. And it's just a bit torn out. Just tear a bit out. So let's tear down here and then go from there, shall we? So it's just at a bit of an angle. Like that. I don't really want that big lump there. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. I think it will be great. So I'm just going to remove that from there while I'm working on it. It's a bit easier. So I'm going to ink that and stick it down. It's not acting as a pocket or anything like that. It's just stuck down. So I'm just using vintage photo, nothing too dark. You can of course use dark if you want to. Okay, and I'm just going to go down the side as well. I don't want all of this piece, I need to cut a piece off at the bottom. Yeah, that's lovely. Right. So, where do I want to cut it is the question. Let's get that in the position where we want, like that, and then just cut this surplus off. I'm going to have to ink around there as well. Didn't think of that. I did not think. But that's fine. That's lovely. Right, so I'm going to glue this down to the back. If you want to make it a pocket, that's fine. I don't. I think there's enough going on with this as it is. My art glitter glue is coming to an end. Good things don't last forever. Right, so let's stick that on there, right up that edge there. Whoops. Get down a bit, wasn't exactly square. That's fine. Make sure that's stuck down nicely. Then we just need some snippets, some Tim Holtz snippets, or anything. I mean, you know, I'm using them because I've got them, but any little bits of stuff you've got, bits of paper that you've cut at, anything. So I thought that I might like that there. And I've got a teeny tiny little bit here, come on. But I just thought I could put that there and it looks quite nice. And then I've got this that I'm going to put at this end. Whoops, and a little stamp. I don't know, just at an angle, maybe like that. Yeah, I think that's fine. Quite like it. I do like it, in fact. Now I'm going to ink around these teeny bits, which is always a pain, but they do look much better when they're inked. So that one and that one, then we'll stick them down. Oh, I don't know, might as well go on and ink the lot really. There we go. These pack of snippets, the tiny ones, honestly I use them so often. They are so handy, just handy to have, tiny little bits of interest. There we go. So let's get these stuck down. I'll don't think that's going to move. It's got plenty of glue on it. So Catkin's actually on a charge today. He's just he has days where it's almost impossible to deal with, really. He just goes from one act of naughtiness to the next. He always seems to just sit where you're going to sit. He bites your toes. He's just, he waits down the side of my chair for me to put my hand out to grab my drink or whatever, and then pounces. He's full of character and he's full of life, thank goodness. And his coat is so super sleek that I think we must be doing something right. And I shouldn't complain that he's mischievous, you know. And I'm not really. It's just by the end of the day you're pretty worn out with him. Sometimes if he goes to the back door and wants to go out, we just let him. He doesn't go anywhere. We've got a sort of back passage and an outhouse, and he goes in there and plays around there. We've seen him a couple of times make it out. We've got a tree just outside the back door, and he makes it that far, but I've never seen him make it further. So yeah, I don't think he does go into the big bad world quite yet. Right, so this is going onto here, like so. I'm going to make sure that I've got the top right, because I can always trim off the bottom. So I'm going to glue that for ease of sewing. I haven't ink around this yet because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some bit of it that's going to need to be trimmed up. Actually, I didn't need to ink all of that, glue all of that, because I'm sewing it. That's what you get. I was chatting away with you all and then I forgot. I forgot what I was doing. Right, so let's get this right at the top. Yeah, and then down there, it should be fine. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's a little bit long at the bottom, which is fine. We'll just trim that off, but the sides and everything look pretty good. Yep, they look pretty good. So let's just trim that excess off at the bottom. I think it's because when you quilt, anybody that quilts will know, your fabric sort of shrinks on you a little bit. And I think that's what's happened. That's why the paper on the back is a bit long, but there you go. I mean, it's not difficult to rectify. So I'm going to ink that now before I sew it, because it's so much easier to do. As I say, I'm not using a dark ink anyway, but it does make a difference. I've been quite generous with the ink. There we go. Right, so the next thing to do, obviously, is to sew around the entire tag. And you will be going over, or near to, these, the ones that we've sewn already. Don't worry about that. It just adds to the overall look, so it's fine. So I'll be back in a sec. I'm just going to go and whiz around that. Well, how typical is that? Just when you don't want it to, a bobbin runs out. Well, mind you, I mean, I'm saying that, when do you ever want it to? It's always a nuisance, isn't it? You need a massive bobbin, that's what would be required. But anyway, I've sorted it, it's done, it's sewn, and it's looking quite nice, really. There we go. So we've got our, I don't know what's going on there. That must be where it ran out of thread, I think. Okay. so that's it. I mean, pretty much that is it. And yes, these bits might fray. I'm not concerned about that, to be honest. I quite like it when they do start to fray. They look nice. You might see the card, a tiny bit of the card, but you really are not going to see much. I mean, this stitching is right up to the edge, so it's not going to fray beyond that edge, so beyond the stitched line. So I've just got something to put on the top, and it's another one of the things from Tim Holtz, and I just want to fold that. Well, I'll link it first and then I'll fold it over in half and stitch that on. And then I'm thinking I might put something on the top actually of this one. So I want it fairly straight. Let's just fold it over. Let's just check that something like straight. No, it's nothing like straight. Now I've folded it, it just wants to fold where I folded it. No, come on round a little bit. Yeah, I think that's probably okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to crease that in with a bone folder, just makes life a little bit easier. And that's going to go on the top here. Over everything, back and front, like that. And I'm going to just put a little bit of glue and then I'm going to sew around that. So just a little bit of art glitter. Thanks, Mr. F. He's just drawn the curtains again, because Bobby had opened them because he wanted to look outside, as you do. Right, so that's going on there, and I'm just going to sew around the thing. Okay, so I put a couple of lines of stitching in there because I just thought it looked better. So I'll just trim those ends off. Now the question is, do I actually want to put anything in the top or not? And I think I might on this occasion. So I'm just going to mark where my centre is, if I can. Where are we? There. So the centre is one line there. So that's the middle. That's where I want my owl. And I also want one of these. I haven't got any of the dark. I'll use silver. I haven't got any of the gunmetal coloured ones left, and I keep meaning to order them, and I never get round to it, so hopefully today I'll remember. It's awful when you get old. Right, so let's... Oh, ow, oh, ow. That hasn't done that nail any good whatsoever, but never mind. Right, so this crocodile should really go through all of these layers. It should do. Just checking I'm on the right mark. Ooh. Yeah, pretty much. Just needs a little trim up. But that's fine. We can do that. That's it. And then we'll pop the eyelet in. Oh, it looks nice, that. I like it. And set that. Yeah, that's nice. I'm just going to go on to the gold, silver coloured one because it seems to tidy it up a bit better. Yeah, that's perfect. So what am I going to put in the top? Well, I thought, how about a bit of red fabric? We've got a lot of red, but ostensibly we've only got 2 lots of red. one there and one there. And I like my things in threes, really. So I'm thinking I'm just going to use a little scrap of this. I don't know if it'll allow me to tear it there, but let's give it a try. No, maybe not. Let's give it another try. Cut a bit more off, you never know. If not, I'll... Oh, no, it's doing it, it's doing it. Yay! I'll just cut down there. Right, I've got quite a lot of threads here and I'm not sure how much fabric I'm going to be left with. Yeah, enough, that's fine. So let's poke that through there. Just going to use my pencil to push it through. I'm just going to tie it on the top. Now you could at this stage add a charm to that there. That would look nice. Hanging from the top. I'm not going to because I'm going to add a charm somewhere else. So that's it. It's just a tiny little bit. But it just, to my mind, it just balances it up a little bit better. Now I also have to go on here. I think I showed you before the bracelet that I'm slowly taking apart. This one. It's got all these charms hanging off it, which to me look like they're perfect for hanging as charms. I mean, they're great, aren't they? So I've taken one off already. I've taken this ball, globe, whatever it is, off, and I've attached a jump ring to it. And I've just got somewhere, because I laid it out, it's gone on the missing list now. Here it is. It's a teeny tiny Tim Holtz paper clip, and they really are teeny tiny. I mean, look at the size of it. But they work perfectly for what I want this for. So I'm just going to attach this charm, the jump ring, through the end of here if I can. If I can. The other one went on quite easily, but this one seems a bit more stubborn. Come on. Come on. I don't think that's going to work, is it? No. Alright, well, it will. I will get it to work. But in the interim, I've got a little Tim Holtz safety pin, and that will work perfectly. So just open that up, pop my little charm on, and then I'm just going to safety pin it to the edge, or pretty near the edge anyway. Like so. Fasten it off. I quite like the safety pin actually. It's perhaps got a bit more character to it. Oh dear. I don't know what it is with me and Tim Holtz metalware. We seem to be fighting all the time. Come on. Not that much. There, yes, that's lovely. Now please just fasten up nicely. Like you know you want to. Oh my goodness me. Alright, it's off. It appears it doesn't want to go on. Let's stick it on the top for the time being. Just to say we've got a charm on it. I'm just going to stick that through the knot here. Well, as if it wants to go. Yes, it wants to go. And fasten that up there. Well, it's a point of difference from the other one, I suppose. Right, that's there. And I do like those little safety pins. You can probably see it more clearly actually up there than you could on the side. So there we have it. We have our two tags. I'll only be using one. I don't know quite what I'm going to do with the other one yet. But there we have it. They're nice, aren't they? So the thing to remember, the takeaway from this, I guess, is do whatever you're going to do to the front and the wadding or batting before you stick the back on, and that way then you don't see all the work that you've put in with sewing it. You just get a really nice back like that. And to be honest, if you press those stitches in, it won't look so bad either. I think I need a new needle. Mine's a bit blunt now, so it's making quite large holes, which I don't, could do without. So anyway, there we have it. So that's one tag for one page in my journal. I haven't even made the pocket yet. So you can see it's a bit of a slow process. It's a labour of love, but it's just such lovely stuff to work with, and I really like it. So that's the one we made today with the safety pin. This is the one I'd made previously. So you can see they're pretty similar. The big difference is the colour of the card. But there's nothing wrong with that. I like it, and I love this paper with the red lines in it. It's great. So thanks for joining me. I hope you have a go. I mean, it'd be really good if you were going to make a fabric journal. That would be fabulous. I'd love to see that, really would. And in the interim, I'll say goodbye, and I will see you again soon. Take care out there. Bye.